So, Vishudip, you have, I think, earlier work also with the Sanjay Leela Bhansali on your side. So, when you first time, I mean, this is a project which all of us knows that you wanted to do for many, many years.
Yes.
Finally, you made it. So, when you first time hear the script, I mean, there's always a discussion about the sound design part of the film. So, could you just talk about how did the discussion started and how it got improved and what are the things which were incorporated from time to time?
First of all, I was approached for this film by Sanjay, and it was like getting together after almost 15 years. Because I have worked earlier, most of my career has been in song and music recording. So it was only after Devdas that I decided that I want to do the entire sound design of the film. So my association with Sanjay has been way back, since way back. We were almost from the same batch, like you guys are from the same batch. Somebody will make something and you will probably work on that. So it was like that. So I worked on this film called Hum Dil De Chuke Sanam, for which we had recorded all the songs and the music. And वो भी एक unique वो था because of the type of music, the type of songs and the type of film that it was new in the market at that time. So the way we went about it and we mastered the soundtrack in London, all that was something that people never did in Bollywood. So one good thing about Sanjay is that he has a lot of respect for his technicians, his actors, his crew, and he's very intense. Every department of his, whether it's costumes, whether it's camera, whether it's sound, whether it's editing, is equally important to him. So even if there's a last extra standing in the crowd, his costume will be perfect, right from his shoes till his pagri will be the same as the guy who's standing in the foreground. So there is a certain level of honesty in his work, and which is why you want to give your best all the time. And all the faculties of his, respect that. So after that, his next film was Devdas, where again I recorded the songs and the music, and that's when I got the idea that I also want to carry it a little further, because there was a lot of sound design element through music that had happened in Devdas. So, but after that, I got busy with another project.
I'll just interrupt you. You
Yeah.
said there was some sound design which happened through the music.
Yeah.
Can you just elaborate on that?
Yes, what happens is when you're recording a song for the album, it has been shot, but once it has been shot and put on screen, then there are certain other elements apart from the song that you want to incorporate with the visuals. Like, the dance, for example. Suddenly you see like some 100 dancers in front of your screen, but your soundtrack is not complementing that. So I told his assistant, मुझे 25 किलो घुंघरू लेके आ जाओ, मुझे चाहिए. So he suddenly next day I come to the table is full of घुंघरूs of various shapes and sizes. Because what has happened is we had recorded that musically it is sounding fine when you're listening to it, but when you're listening, seeing the film, and then there are some 100 dancers dancing, so the sound should complement that. So I divided the different textures of different ghungroos, made 3 musicians sit in 3 different styles and play those ghungroos along with the dance. So this is one element, one example. So like this, there are a lot of things like the Devdas ka whip. That whip sound, I had layered and created that particular whip sound, and that became like a metaphor in that entire film. So whether he's tragic kuch hai ya kuch hai, it's almost that whiplash is almost like hitting him. So that became a kind of a metaphor in the entire thing. So these sort of elements one started doing, and because it was Sanjay, his films are largely musical. So then I decided that I also, personally for me, I also kind of wanted to go beyond just sound and music recording into the overall sound design of the film. And I started off, and then of course I was supposed to work on Black, but I had taken up and I was not going on to location to record. So I had put Rasool onto him. He said, you go ahead with this. And I started working with Ritu Purna Ghosh. And then we kind of moved. But eventually we met now at this point, and I'm very happy that he called me. So when Bajirao, it was after Hamdil Julisalam that he actually wanted to make Bajirao Mastani with Salman and Aishwarya. So one thing led to the other, and eventually that project did not happen. But this time with Ranveer and Deepika, he decided that, and Priyanka, he decided he wanted to do the film. So after 13 to 14 years, I think this project kind of took shape. And when he told me it was Bajirao Mastani, I was quite excited. So I was quite excited about this project. And historically, this was, I think, in the mid-1700s, this Bajirao character, jo tha, he was a small king. He was a Peshwa. See, so this Peshwa was a unique Peshwa. He was one of those Peshwas that everyone talked about. He was conquering the Mughals, he was conquering them, because that was a time when the Mughals were like, at ease with their thing. So that was a time when the Marathas started expanding their kingdom. So he played a key role in, and of course because of his flamboyant, his romance actually, not even his flamboyant lifestyle, that is something which is, we all assume. But his romance with Mastani was something which was the center of the story. And the Chhatrapati was actually the great grandson of Shivaji, which is played by Mahesh Manjrekar. So he was a Peshwa in this Chhatrapati's kingdom. So here we have a story of Bajirao, a brave warrior. And so I did my bit of reading, because there were Marathi books on that, but I found one English translation. So for my information, I read up the whole book. And then I was given the script, and then I read the whole script. So from the sound designer's perspective, what happens is, if you are not on the same page with the director, if he is making a film, then he will not know how to communicate. I should know who Bajirao is, I should know who Kashi is, I should know who Mastani is, I should know who Masahib is. So these are the key elements, the characters, the strong characters in the film. So I had to do my bit of work by reading up on that. Now this is a period film. So what does your soundscape have? You cannot have traffic. You cannot have disco. You cannot have various other elements which are not there around that period. So I am constructing mentally a soundscape or a soundtrack that will complement his script or his film. So I started collecting data for myself. Of course, you have the battlefield, you have the horses, you have the elephants, you have the soldiers, you have the cannons. By then the cannons had already come. Then I was interested in, of course the music was Sanjay's, his kind of music. But then I needed something in the soundtrack. So every year in Wai, there's a place called Wai, near Panchgani. So wahan pe every year they have, there are all these Brahmins that come from almost all over Maharashtra, and they chant the Ved. So the Vedic chant is something that I wanted to put in the soundtrack. So there were those Vedic chants, there were these women who would sing and sit and sing bhajans in the temple and all that, which I have used very subtly in various places in the film. So that builds up a kind of a mahal, that builds up a kind of an atmosphere. So I'm having these sort of elements, I'm having temples, I'm having, my atmospheric sound is horse carriage, horse neighing, temples, then the soldiers' camps, the horses again. So all this put together.
Soldiers' camp.
Soldiers' camps, because it's a war, there's a certain element of war. So you designed your soundscape in such a way that you felt that, in those days, आपके मतलब अगर शनिवार वाड़ा was a place which is still there in Pune जहाँ पे बाजीराव used to stay, तो उसके आसपास में क्या होगा? There will be temples because Bajirao was also a Brahmin. So Brahmins usually were like ministers. But here was a Brahmin who was like a Kshatriya, who was a fighter. So he had a lot of conflict with his own family, even otherwise. His way of life, as a warrior you have your ways of life. You cannot stick to a typical Brahminical way. But then the rest of your family is. So there is always a puja, there is always some bhajan, there is always some religious activity that is constantly going on. And largely his entire house, etc., was in it was shot entirely in sets, so it was interiors. So you had to create a kind of with the mixture of all these and atmospheric sounds and the kind of birds and peacocks and those kind of things. You have to create a soundscape with those kind of sound effects. For me, sound design is not just laying the effects tracks. I process the dialogues also. I mix the song for the theatre also, though the album mix is being done by somebody else. But for the film, I do the mix and the backgrounds also.
So how different, I'll interrupt you. How different is the mix for the theatre and mix for the album?
Again, what happens is, for the theatre, your song mix becomes a little more cinematic rather than musical. Because a simple example would be like if there are backing vocals. If there's a song happening and I'm singing and there's a backing vocal happening. So I cannot in an album or in a music have the backing vocals really come out that much in front and stuff like that. But in a film, suppose you have a crowd singing and shouting, I cannot put the background vocals back like in a typical album mix I would. I will have to bring those in front to complement the visual that you have given. Like, have you seen Bajirao?
Yes.
So there is this so-called Malhari song that, the victory song that Ranveer breaks into. So there are places where they are stamping. So actually the song does not have, in the album it does not have those kind of sounds, but I did put about 10-15 footsteps to complement rhythmically. So you had a tra happening all the time. You had those jhanj that those people were playing. I added extra jhanj onto the thing because visually you were showing a close-up of these people actually performing with the jhanj. So there the rest of the percussion tracks you had to bring up, you had to focus more on the jhanj and those kind of things. And of course the crowd shouting and cheering him and all that. Now that will be a disturbance in a song. And if you're listening to it in a thing, why is there so much of shouting? But when you're watching it on a film, then you can see that why there's so much of shouting inside the song. They're cheering him. There are others cheering because this is a victory song that he had put in the thing. So those are elements that you need to add. Even things like thunder, lightning, in various, not just this film, but various other films, there are these sort of elements which enhance the drama, enhance the performance, enhance the drama. So musically, it should blend better with the visual that is happening. So this is how you kind of add elements into the song to make it more like it is a performance that is happening in front of you. So there is no difference, it should not sound like a separate soundtrack. It should sound more like it is for the film and they are actually doing this, they are actually doing this dance. Then there are places where, then comes the background score. The background score also somewhere, as a designer, I have also felt the need I don't need music in this particular area. Sanjay had put the music over there because he did not know what the sound design element would be at that particular moment over there. So when I put those elements, then he realized that there is a lot of activity happening in the soundscape and the music is actually drowning that. This is one scene, I don't know if you will remember, it's a very subtle scene. Next time you see it,
Music is drowning.
the background music is drowning the overall effects and the atmosphere that is creating it. In fact, it is unnecessarily disturbing. So I cut the music and I showed it to him. He dekh ye aisa hai. So he began to like that. He said, yes, this is sounding much better. Because what happens is when you're sitting and editing it, you don't have the sound in front of you to take that call. So because parallelly we are all working. तो आप उसका edit दूसरा scene का कर रहे हो, मैं ये scene का sound design कर रहा हूँ, वो उसका background कर रहा है. So the work is shared and scattered. So but they all come to me eventually, and I lay out the overall design and show him that this is how it is done. So once I have this in mind, then he understands, okay, these are the elements that I have put, and the music is washing those away. So when Kashi brings Bajirao to her room, saying that this is our new room, do you remember that scene? So there are these elements, this singing of all these women that were singing in the temple that I had recorded over there. I layered a small this thing in that where you could hear these bhajans happening from, as though they are happening from outside a thing, some temple bells, some birds. There are a lot of these kabutar sounds that they are not there, but it will give you an impression, like suppose how many times has it happened to you that you just barged into a room and suddenly there's a flutter of kabutar happening all around. Sometimes you get shocked with that. You don't actually necessarily see that, but that flapping of the wings makes you aware that, and that gudurgu piche se jo chal raha hai, it creates an ambience. So I have added those kind of elements, and then it seems like you have entered the fort, it seems like those birds are there, but you have to be careful that they don't distract you. You should be in that mahal. Right now I'm having a chat with you. There's a traffic sound happening, there are camera shutters happening, there is somebody talking out in the corridor, but that is not disturbing us. Why? Because our mind is playing like the mixer. Right now, we are concentrating on our dialogue track. Right now we are talking, you're listening, and nothing is supposed to be disturbing this. So even if those things are happening, we know there is a road out there. We know there is traffic out there. We know that this place is in a particular locality. We know that this has a particular soundscape. But you cannot, like, it's defining this space. Suppose we are all sitting over here, and suppose I remove this soundtrack and I just put airline announcements, and I put aeroplanes flying over my head. I add some reverb and I put some announcements, flight Indigo so and so is going to leave for Mumbai at so and so time. Passengers kindly proceed to the security check. तो आप अगर ये कैमरा यहाँ पे लगाओगे और पीछे ये अनाउंसमेंट चलेगा तो क्या लगेगा? You'll all look like passengers who are waiting for a flight. So this is defining space. So even if I'm shooting in a particular environment, if I'm having an enclosed environment, from my soundtrack I can define the geography of that place. This is something which we are constantly doing.
Also, because this is a war-oriented film,
Yes.
and there are different kind of instruments, not instrument, but I would say weapons. So for
Yes.
example, in the end when you take the circular kind of a thing,
Yes.
when he's about to enter in the last victory sequence I'm talking about,
Right.
after that he becomes mad,
Right.
psychologically disturbed. So there's a different kind of weapon is there.
Right.
And those are not the standard weapon which you often get to see. So there are standard weapons, say for example, the talwar,
Sword and the
talwar is
spear.
there, spear and all that, and this kind of a thing which is which he
Yes.
rotates. So how did you design for those which are standard one? At the same time, remembering at that period, this kind of talwar would be there, and this thing which is which I have not seen at least in many war films, which is a totally new kind of a thing. Maybe it was used at that time for sure. So was it a liberty, cinematic liberty, which he used for that weapon, or was it really existing at that time? And how did you go about using the sound for these sword fight kind of a situation, where the first time Mastani enters in his camp and a couple of other places?
Fortunately, I have a very good sound library. So all the medieval war sounds I have. I have the swords, I have the spears, I have the bow and arrow. I have all that. But this particular weapon that you're talking about, which they are referring to as the Danpatta. So this, I don't know whether Bajirao really used that, because there was no real mention of that in whichever thing that I read. But he took that from, he took that instrument from Kalaripattu. In Kalaripattu, which is a martial art from that originated in Kerala. People say that karate has evolved from that particular martial art. So this is a flexible kind of a sword which is used in Kaviripettu. So he wanted to use that element, he wanted to use that particular instrument. In reality, it sounds very swishy and very thin and very boring. So I had to layer those things and add stuff to make it a little more dramatic, so that it stood out. So it was a whooshing sound and the metallic sound of this, and I pitched down it, lowered the pitch of that particular sound. So we did a lot of processing of that sound to make it sound like the brief that was given to me was, "तूने जो देवदास के whip में किया था, you give me something like that." In fact, why don't you bring that whip back? I said, let's forget about that whip, please. So I'll make something out of that. So we did a flexible sword, and we did those kind of things to make it sound like a actual instrument, a typical, unique to that particular instrument, sound typically unique to that instrument. So that seems to have worked because the visuals are also there. And so that was one out of the ordinary weapon that you needed to use. You have a sound bank, but then you need to process. It's not that आपने ये sound ले लिया, but then you have to work on that depending on the situation, because the bank is the same. You're drawing from the same library, but it should not sound identical to what I've used in his film or what I've used in his film. So it has to be different. But if I've processed this, the basic thing is that, and then I have made it sound, made it sound very different.
And this film is also Atmos, right?
Oh yes, this is a new format.
So could you just talk about the Atmos used in this particular way, which is more effective, because a lot of things are happening on the top of you also.
Right. In fact, the first Bollywood film that was mixed in Atmos, Dolby Atmos, which is a new format, was Madras Cafe, for which I had done the sound design about 2 years ago. And after that, most of the big productions, they are going in for this format called the Dolby Atmos. Now, Dolby Atmos is actually, if you understand the format, there is mono, which is one speaker. There is stereo, which is two speakers. So when stereo came into frame, then what happened was, when stereo came into the thing, then for us the space kind of expanded. Because as human beings, our hearing is binaural. So the left ear and the right ear, our hearing is in stereo. This also gives us imaging. So if you close your eyes and sit in the center of the room, you can make out who has crossed from left to right, or who has gone from right to left, and or who is walking behind you. So you understand? Do you hear this boom, boom, boom happening? Do you hear that? Okay, I'll tell you something about it. So stereo is something which started off when music albums in the 70s and 80s, music albums started coming out. They started coming out in stereo. So that gave a space and it gave a broader listening environment. So now in films, what happened was we went a step further and we came to this format called the 5.1. The 5.1 is actually 6 channels. 6 channels. So you have a left speaker, you have a center speaker, and you have a right speaker. One thing you must understand, at home when you are having your stereo system, or when you are having a small speaker system with your computer with 2 speakers, when both are playing simultaneously like this, you feel that there is a center. This is a phantom center. So you feel that there is a center. So when you're listening to 2 speakers and you're sitting in your living room and listening to the one pair of stereo speakers, you can feel that the singer is singing from the center. But for a film, what happens is the distance between the left speaker and the right speaker is so vast that whatever image that you have in the center is going to drop. So you need a center speaker to prop this up. So you have a left, center and right. So when somebody is walking across the frame, he is walking from the left to the center to the right. So when somebody is walking in front of you, you can perceive him. When he is walking from here and going over here, then slowly what is happening is the gain, the volume on your left ear with respect to him is his volume, his sound of his footstep is reducing in this ear and increasing in this ear, which is giving us the shift, which is giving us the movement ka ek graph, which is giving us which we are perceiving as movement from left to right. So that is what is happening in front of you. But what also is happening is our hearing is 360 degrees. Our hearing is completely all around us. See, our vision stops over here. Now, I don't know what is happening beyond this behind me, but I can hear what is happening behind me. I'm reacting to it. There was a music that played, I turned around. I thought the speakers had started, but there was a music that was playing from some car. I turned around because I hear it. Also, when you are going to sleep, your eyes shut, मतलब camera बंद हो गया है, but your hearing is still on. You're still waking up to an alarm clock. You're hearing the alarm clock in your sleep. It is disturbing your dream. It may come as a fire alarm. It may come as an ambulance ka, fire engine ka alarm. But when you wake up in your dream, you suddenly see it's your alarm clock. So you're perceiving, you're hearing in your sleep also. That is giving us a sense of balance. When you close your eyes and walk into a room and say hello, you can gauge the size of the room. Because if you're walking into a church, I'm telling you all this because you will understand you will understand sound. You will try and understand. Next time you will, as professionals, be conscious of this fact, whichever locality you are in, how the soundscape is going to be. And what I'm also trying to tell you is when you're walking inside the church, you say hello and it reflects and you get this feeling of you're standing in a very huge space with a large volume. And when you walk into a bathroom, close your eyes and walk into a bathroom, you will know that if somebody is locking you in a cupboard or somebody is locking you inside a small bathroom, from your hearing you will know what the space is because of the time taken for the early reflections. Your own voice is going to reflect and come back to you short. It's going to be reflecting in various ways and coming back to your ears. So this is defining, this is how bats hunt using sonar. They can locate their prey, almost like they emit a signal, it hits that particular insect and it comes back and he can locate, okay, here is where it is. And because it is ultra high frequency, for him imaging is not a problem. He can exactly locate, okay, this is where the insect is, I'm going to go and attack and eat it. So for us also it is like that. So what happens is, there is constantly, if suppose you don't hear anything, one fine morning you get up and you hear कि मुझे कुछ सुनाई नहीं दे रहा है, there's going to be a panic because you are not used to this silence, and because of this silence you can understand, you will lose your balance and you may even fall. There are places called the anechoic chambers where microphones are tested. Now that is so dead that when you walk inside that room you will feel that your balance is shifting because you don't have any points of reference. If you do some reading on it, you will know what I'm talking about. So now when I'm talking to you, there is a certain reflection or there is a certain reverb inside this room. So it is giving me, when suppose there is a scene where there's a camera and you're shooting a person who is standing inside this particular area, you have to artificially create that room noise. Now what happens is, when I'm sitting and talking next to you, there is a street behind me. So suddenly there was a need to have surround speakers to generate sounds even in the surround. So what is happening is you have left, center, right, and you have left surround and you have right surround. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. It does not matter how many speakers. It can be 10 speakers on this wall depending on the size of the room, but the channel is one surround channel and one surround channel on this side. Now what is the point one? The point one is the subwoofer, which is giving you the bass. Everybody's talking about the sub, everybody's talking about the subwoofer. Now, that subwoofer can be put anywhere in the room. I asked you, did you hear that booming sound? But suppose you close your eyes, you will not be able to locate where that booming sound is coming from. Whereas if somebody whistles, you can immediately turn around and say, "Acha, isne bulaya humko." That's because of the high frequency and the short wavelength. It is easy to pinpoint the source. But suppose there's a huge explosion, bomb phuta, yeah, some major tire burst has happened. You can feel the vibration, but you will not be able to pinpoint the source because the wavelength is so big that it is not easy to define kahan se aa raha hai. So basically that is the principle that they are using in your home theater systems, which is the reason why you can put that subwoofer anywhere in the room. So it does not matter where it generates from. The accent is coming from the main speakers which are in front of you. So then the 5.1 happened. Then they went on to add another 2 surround channels to make it even broader and to define your surrounds even more. They came out with the 7.1. Then what happened was, there are all these Universal type and Disney type people, they approached Dolby when they started coming out with these 3D films. Have you seen any of these 3D films? So you have the perception that visually when you're seeing this character almost coming up to you, or this object when he's throwing from there is almost landing in your lap. So they said, like, sound-wise, why don't you enhance that? So what they did was, Dolby came out with a format called the Dolby Atmos, which pinpoints your speakers, which pinpoints your element. Like suppose you have a fly buzzing around your head, you will actually feel like the fly is buzzing around your head. What they have done is they have put speakers all over. So there are 128 speakers, not just this left, center, right. They have added 2 more speakers there. They have added speakers on the ceiling. They have added more speakers on the side. So it is almost like a 360-degree sound speakers all around you. So you don't feel there's a drop anywhere and it seems consistent. So in a film like Madras Cafe, what happened was, it was nice and interesting experience when suddenly the helicopter flew over your head. You could actually hear them flying over your head. When you're standing in, say, it's raining very heavily and you're standing in a particular shelter, you want to walk out but you're standing under one shed. So the rain is falling on top of you. I can have those speakers I can put that particular track of those sounds coming right from, as though they're coming from above your head. So I put it on the speakers on top.
So again,
In a Bajirao, sorry. In context of Bajirao, there were arrows flying over me, there were cannonballs flying over me. There was, when this guy was rotating his sword, I'm making that sword travel all over, so that when you're sitting, it feels like it's gone over your head. So if you're hearing it in an Atmos room, in an Atmos theater, there are a lot more Atmos theaters coming up all over the metros and even the smaller cities. So it's an experience for you. It's just, you have to be intelligent enough not to put something which will distract you.
When you're watching up,
Instead of looking at the film, people should not be doing this. So it should be just the right loudness so that it does not disturb you, it does not disturb the story or the romance that is happening in front of you. It should not disturb that. So this is just enough film to make you feel that you are sitting in that particular environment.
But beside these war sequences, particularly the interior sequences, say for example this Glass Mahal and a couple of other places, did you feel that the use of that top channel of the audio for the Atmos was really worth for the film?
Oh yes.
Can you just quote a few examples?
See, even there are very small elements, like I was telling you about the pigeons fluttering.
True.
So I put those pigeons flying over your head. So I put, when you were walking inside, there were fires and they were very subtle. So there were all these diyas, there were all these torches that are kept on top. So I placed them in certain places which are like above you. Rains, all the rain sequences, the rains are coming from top, whichever is coming from like falling on top of you. So even in a quieter sequence, you have atmospheric sounds which you have panned over there also. So there are certain bird sounds also coming from there. There are certain cricket sounds that are coming. So this is just creating that environment. So when you're sitting inside, you're feeling like you're sitting in that particular environment. Even the reflection, what happens is you're panning the reverbs also. Now when I'm speaking to you, there's a reflection not only from the walls, but there's a reflection from the ceiling also. So I'm, in my processing, when I'm giving the reverb, I am also sending the signal up. So it is a mushed up, this thing, mixed up reverb signal which is being panned in all the speakers. So it gives you the impression that it is playing in a, that's a very subtle feeling. In war, of course, it is very obvious because you have the arrows coming over your head, you have the spears coming from here, you're having the fight. When वो जो गिरता है उसका जो the sand that he's picked up, that sand I have, there's a scene where he's suddenly landed in front of you or the sand has been kicked. So वो sand kick का एक sound होता है, the falling of the sand and the flying of the sand, which you have taken above your head when somebody is in that war scene. So a lot of people who have seen the film, who are not from our industry, have noticed or have called me up and said that, oh, this is a very interesting thing. I felt that I was in the middle of the war. Or even if there's no war, I felt that I was in the middle of a scene. So when you're sitting next to or standing next to a river bank, there's a lot of activity happening. Some frog has jumped into the river, some insect is flying around, some bird is singing somewhere, some bird has suddenly started fluttering over there. So there's a huge variety of stuff that is happening in the soundscape around you. So you're just putting things in the right perspective so that it does not disturb the scene overall. You should be careful about that. Itna bhi loud mat kar do, because I don't want to show them, I don't want to show off my sound. I don't want to show off reverbs. I want to capture the scene. And I have to just keep the proportion right.
It just remind me of the last sequence when he mentally gets disturbed after that war sequence and he goes into the river, or it was a big river.
Yes.
And so actually there is a water sound only, primarily speaking. So how did you play with that water kind of sound for that sequence?
Oh, I added a lot of stuff there.
Just elaborate on that.
I added Tibetan chants. Because it's a state of mind. Because it's not real. So I had to do something which is not real. I had to give some wild sounds also. Those kind of sounds also I've added along with the listening. Because the soldiers are imaginary. They are all listening. So I have this thing coming. Next time you try and look out for it. So this along with the background, and it is very important to sit with your composer. Because what is happening is when I'm sitting with the music director, I'm saying that this scene is going to be very cluttered in terms of action. So when you're composing your background music, make sure you don't have a very busy percussion track. Because aapka percussion as a musician is going to clash with the percussion of the effects that are already happening over there. So intelligently what had happened was, he created the music in such a way that, it didn't interfere with the design, and my design was also in such a way that I could bring in the music at various places, the long notes especially. So it's a very intricate balance. So even there's one particular scene where Bajirao is leaving for war towards the end. So he's getting up, he says goodbye to Mastani, his wife, he walks out and it's raining very heavily. So there was an elaborate music piece over there. So what I did was, and it was a dum, dum, kind of a thing with strings and cellos and all happening. So I muted all the violins and the strings and the cellos, and I just kept, because the shot was such that there were soldiers standing on both the sides. Bajirao is getting up on the horse and he's moving out. And it's raining very heavily. So the sounds of the horses and the rains are really percussive. And because these two sides, there were these soldiers standing, it was almost like a guard of honor for this guy. So that snare and the drum, just snare and the drum over there was, along with the rain sounds and the horse sounds and their footsteps, was making it sound much more convincing and created much more tension than a music piece would have created in that particular moment. So, in the war, yes, there were a lot of these complex sounds. The end scene, there were a lot of these complex sounds. I put the voice as an element is a very powerful element. When you're hearing a voice, you react to it much more than you would react to an instrument. So, when I put these voices, when I had these chants coming, almost like a drone, that, it sounded like, and suddenly when you turn around, nothing is there. He's just imagining it. And then his being in the water, the horses that are riding in the water, he's fighting in the water. He's fighting a battle with his mind. Then all these imaginary arrows with fire coming and landing on him, and he's thinking that he's being attacked by his own people. In reality, they say that he died of sunstroke or something like that, but he died a natural death on the battlefield. He was not killed by anybody. So here he stretched, he made the death more dramatic. And his falling into the water, so when he's gone into the water, I have these underwater sounds. You've been underwater, you know what it will sound like. You've shot underwater. So, all these underwater sounds around him, and a mixture of that, and a lot of others, you call this process stylization. So, it was not just real effects, but you're stylizing it. Now, if I drop something, suppose it is an item that is very dear to you. Now I have picked it up, it's a glass, expensive china glass, vase, that is very expensive and it's very dear to you. And suddenly it slips out of my hand and it falls. So you will feel कि आपको लगेगा कि ये, I have suddenly dropped off something of value and it will be a big shock to you. So as I drop it, just the falling and करके break करने का sound is very unglamorous. So what you will do is you will make it a little more dramatic in such a way that you will want to be shocked as an audience कि you will feel like this guy has dropped it. Maybe आप उसको slow motion में shoot करोगे that it is falling and suddenly it breaks into 1,000 pieces. So when it's breaking, you may want to give an explosion over there. In reality, it will not explode. But that explosion, as I'm perceiving it as an explosion. I'm thinking that my world has gone down with it because it is so valuable to me for whatever reason you have shown in the script that this is the most valuable thing in my life. And somebody has come and destroyed it. So in my sound, I can create that particular drama by adding more this thing to that and giving it that particular effect.
Before I forget, this is something very interesting because I very often ask this question to the cinematographer. How do you stylize lighting for you? Now this, you just mentioned the stylized way of sound.
Yes.
So can you just elaborate this stylized way in context, particularly, say for example, Bajirao? Any other sequence do you remember specific to this?
See,
or maybe for some other film of yours?
See, most of us, what happens is when we get into stylization, the moment there is a slow motion shot, then it is very unnatural to have slow motion footsteps walking when you have a slow motion shot. So you are probably exaggerating that footstep, you are exaggerating his armor, you're giving more, say you're giving a lot of reverb to the metal on his body. Chan, chan. You're exaggerating the footsteps, you're exaggerating the sound, you're treating the footfall on the sand itself, you're trying to make it a little more exaggerated. So you're adding these effects and you're also adding some unrealistic whooshes and effects which, your movements, whooshes, those kind of, whooshing sounds and stuff like that. They are sounds which are unreal. Now, it can be a swish sound of a sword, but if I put it in a different context, if I treat it and it will have an interesting sound. So if I have those kind of sounds happening, you stylize it. Music is an easy way of, punctuating any form of, creating any form of stylization. But without music also, it's very interesting to see all these stylized sounds. this particular stylization that you do in camera is also possible in sound, but you just exaggerate, you time stretch it, you wobble it, you distort that particular sound for a particular effect. So that in that way you can achieve that sort of stylization.
But these kind of stylized sequences are wherever you feel that whether there is a imaginative world, say for example in the end sequence, or whether there is a war sequence where there is some slow motion things are happening. But in a real state of affair where not these kind of things are happening, which is not an imaginary world at the same time, which is not an exaggeration in a visual. Do you think that this stylization can also be used in a natural setup where not these things are happening?
Yes.
Say for example.
See, what happens is, suppose suddenly, now you're sitting here hearing my talk and you're hearing his talk and you're hearing the atmospheric sounds around you, but suddenly somebody barges into the door and comes and gives you one slap on your face. Your reaction to that will be shock. And right then in your mind, you're completely confused. Then what is happening in your mind, nobody knows. Even you don't know what is happening in your mind because somebody's come and just slapped you and you are recoiling or recovering from that particular shock. But what is happening in that moment? You're neither hearing the traffic, nor are you hearing, or it could be a disastrous news that somebody very near to you has met with an accident. So some people cannot take that effect, they faint. The weak-hearted, they faint. So I've seen people, they have fainted when a news of death has come. So they have fainted. That is a particular shock that your mind has created. Now, in reality, that person has just fallen down. But if you go in that particular person's mind, you are thinking of 10 different things, then you're not, it's like if somebody slapped you or if you've given it, then it is not important whether his footsteps are being heard or not. Then you're not hearing this, you're only thinking of that. What is happening? So these are some of the things which in this sort of a situation, you ask the person later, ki, Bhaiya, you were doing this, he will say, Acha, mereko yaad hi nahi tha. But at that moment, what was happening is your mind was completely confused. So is your perception. Your sound that you're hearing is not real. So you're trying to create that. I don't know if have you seen Madras Cafe?
Yes.
I'll tell you one last scene, I have told this earlier I think in one of your batches. Is the point, everybody, because of our history we know that Rajiv Gandhi was killed eventually. So there was nothing. So this was a parallel story which leads up to the Rajiv Gandhi assassination. They don't say Rajiv Gandhi assassination, but it has been taken from there. So here is this guy, he is rushing to save Rajiv from this person who is likely to blow him to pieces. And finally, when she presses the trigger and the explosion happens, I have created a complete silence over there. All the crowds and those sounds have suddenly become very wobbled and I have completely created a silence. Because for the character, John Abraham, who's rushed to this thing, he is knocked out by the blast. And then I added a high frequency sound. How many times has it happened to you that suddenly a cracker has burst near your ear and your ears have become, your ears have started ringing? One particular thing, because your system has reacted to that. Our brain is a tremendous thing, it shuts off so that your ears don't get damaged. It compresses that sound so that you don't suffer some major injury. It's like your eyes. When you're looking at the sun, your pupils become narrower so that it does not allow that much of light, otherwise your retina is going to get damaged. So similarly in hearing that also happens. So I've tried to create that by creating that high frequency sound which is there throughout, and all the other things I have rolled out completely. Rolled out as in I've rolled off the high frequency sounds of all that, till the time this guy slowly comes back into his senses when he starts hearing the ambulance, when he hears the child crying, when he hears crying and after a typical bomb blast when people are recovering from the scene. So then that's how he comes back into reality. But that moment from the blast till his passing out, I wanted to create complete silence and muddle the complete sound, like as though you have fallen down after being hit by the blast. And then you are recovering from all that. And slowly all the news reports coming in, this news report coming, that news report coming. And then again it comes back into life. So this is a kind of a stylization that you can create it out of a sort of a real situation.
Again, coming back to Bajirao, is a war kind of a thing, and horses are very often used in many of the places in Indian cinema and internationally. And usually there is not much in terms of the horse, the running sound of the horse. So do you find when there is something which is a very mundane, run-of-the-mill kind of a thing, and you think that how it can be used in a more creative way, in which you could use something extra, which is being done 100 times by people earlier, and how you can add something to which is very routine. Horse is dog, ठीक है भाई, what's the big deal about it? So sometimes do you really think about those situations which are very ordinary, simple, done 100 times, and how you can still bring something extra which is not being done so far?
See, that again will depend on the film.
So I'm talking about something which is run-of-the-mill, ordinary, done 100 times, but still you wanted to add something to make it more interesting, to make it more, I would say, a value addition to something, which is routine, nothing much great about that.
See, there are various horse sounds. I have a again, like I told you, I have a library. But there was a time when we actually went into this farm to record horses. And there are so many different sounds that come out of a horse's, from this thing, their breathing, their neighing, their footsteps on soil, their footsteps on sand, their hooves rather, on sand, their hooves on hard surfaces, their hooves on grass, their hooves on wood, their hooves on concrete, all those kind of things, they have various types of sounds. I have a library of various horses under various situations and various movements of the horse. You have a straight walk, you have a gallop, you have a movement called the canter. You know, there are these various type of this thing. So what happens is when you're having these horses running, you're putting the scene, it depends entirely on the scene. When you're in the long shot, you will perceive the neigh because again it's a high frequency. You will hear the neighing more than you will hear the rumble of the hooves. I also like to add a lot of low elements, you know, like a rumble. And that has nothing, but it's like when you're standing at a place, you can hear the rumble and you suddenly see this big train that comes in. But you can feel that rumble. When you're standing on this thing, you can feel the earth move. This is how Red Indians used to track putting their heads on this thing because the surface pe jo aapka sound hai that travels much faster. And you can hear it. If somebody taps on the wall, you can hear it on the second floor. They will not hear the tap outside, but structural noise travels. So similarly, you have a vibration that is happening. So when the horses are coming, I like to qualify those particular horses' sounds by adding lows, which low frequency sounds, lows. By adding, like I have some rumbles, I have low frequency sounds, I have taken from processed earthquake sounds and made them really low, almost like a ground shaking. So these qualify a situation, it depends on the situation that it is shot in. So you take a close-up of the horses suddenly when they're running, you suddenly come to the close-up of the horses. You have the hooves, but you're also adding even though the shot is only the feet of the horses, you're adding the breath of 3-4 horses and you're adding so it creates a dramatic effect. So when a horse is neighing, you're giving a delay and a reverb to that particular neigh almost as though it's like coming from all over. Because when you're fighting, when you're in that particular action, it's your perception that I'm trying to create, rather than the actual sound of the horse. How am I perceiving it? आप एक गा रहे हो या बोल रहे हो, or you're creating a particular sound, the way I'm perceiving it, the way he's perceiving it, or the way he's perceiving it is going to be different. Because our brains are different, our positions are different, our minds are different, our situations are different, our backgrounds are different. So somebody with a musical background might associate a musical note to a particular sound that is coming. See, it is important. You have to know or try and understand music. Then there is a particular note in this horn. For a regular person, it is a horn. But for a musician, it is a note. So if he is asked to tune with the horn, he will search for that particular note on his guitar or his keyboard and say, okay, this is C sharp or this is A. So it is how you perceive it. So like that, when you're doing the horses, you're creating a kind of a mahal. There will be different ways you will probably treat that. How you would light up this thing will be different from how he would light up a particular scene. So like that, even in sound, it is possible. The kind of sounds that I'm using, there's a slight crunchiness that I would want to add, because when it comes to the close-up, there's a lot of reverb probably I want to add to that particular horse when Bajirao comes and declares to his mother that I am like he's just come from Mastani's house after a fabulous Eid lunch, to shock his mother. So it is a way, even the costumes, the rustle of his costumes when he's getting up is adding to the personality of that character. Texture, आप जो light में बोल रहे हो, we are calling this in sound. So the textural sound, like if you are getting up and taking 2 steps closer to your victim with a knife, what is going to make it sonically, what is going to create that tension, suppose you don't have music, is you're wearing leather shoes, cut karke you have walked. But the character will change the moment I add squeaks. That leather ka jo ek squeak hota hai, if I add that, it will straight away qualify that particular moment
Which is
and
there
create that tension.
Which is there in a walk when he walks in a long corridor.
Yes.
I remember.
So that is creating that particular tension for that moment. And suddenly you're getting a little more frightened. It happens in horror films. The moment the door creaks open. It's a straight and simplistic example कि door creak हुआ पीछे से तो you get startled. The idea is to scare you. The idea is to make it sound creepy. The idea is to make it sound eerie. So once you start hearing these mundane sounds, and if they're exaggerated in the silence, it can have an equally frightening impact or an effect in that sense.
When you do the sound design and mixing and final thing, does the visual which you are seeing on the screen, does it come after putting all the effects required over there, or you just do it and later on they do all those kind of things also?
In a film like Bajirao, I have just put arrows flying. I have put arrows flying in front of me, from behind me and coming in front. Suddenly the graphics guy calls up and says, okay, now I put the arrows traveling from front to the back. So I said, oh, come back into this thing, and you reverse the pan and say, okay, now we are reversing this thing. I know there will be arrows, but because the graphics are not ready, it's very time consuming. When you're creating computer graphics, it is very time consuming. So a lot of these effects, which we are not seeing visually, I have just put the effects. I know there will be arrows flying, but where from and what dimension, that I will understand only when the action happens. So when this guy is running to kill his enemy, and he's fighting those arrows, when he's running in the thing, there were no arrows.
That's what I'm asking.
So there were no arrows, so I'm just putting those sounds over there as though I'm imagining that there are those particular arrows. So when the arrows actually came, then it made sense why they are sounding like hits in that swishing. Why is it sounding like they are hitting things, objects? So then when the arrows came, then you knew that you were told that यहाँ पे arrows आने वाले हैं.
So you had a tentative idea that so and so
Yes.
will be happening.
There is one particular scene where I was later told that when Raza Mughal is sitting, that there will be a tiger on his left. So when he enters that, I have put a roar over there. But people are wondering why that roar is there. So until you are cutting to Raza Mughal sitting over there, then you realize there's a tiger sitting onto this thing. So you kind of just gave an introduction also to create a tension. That growl of the tiger was not just to give the tiger an effect, but the moment at that time was tension. Because Bajirao has gone to threaten the king, the Sultan. So you're building up with sound a sort of a tension. When he comes and confronts this person and says, okay, you're not going to attack us. And this guy has no choice because he's surrounded by everybody. So he has no choice, he cannot hit back.
But in context with this film only, did it ever happen, or maybe during the time of discussion, that there was a background music and later on you realize that this background music is not happening, we need to do something to the effects or something like that?
Many times it has happened. There was a scene where when Mastani comes into the to Shaniwar Wada, she has been pushed to go and stay with the prostitutes, go and stay in the brothels. She is not welcome inside because, I mean, this is a Brahmin Samaj. Mastani, whose mother is a Muslim, how can they, first of all, having a second wife was not something that was allowed in a Brahmin Samaj. And to top it all, you are having somebody who's half Muslim, who's considered Muslim, whether his her mother or father, whoever it is Muslim, there is Muslim blood, that cannot come in Peshwa blood. So there was so much of vengeance and hatred that she was shunted out to the brothel. There was a full brothel, there was a music. I cut that music over there. I told Sanjay, can I have a thumri over there? So एक बार वो ठुमरी आ जाता है with this thing, then it gives you that feeling that this is a place where courtesans were, and this is how the mahal was. वो नाचने वाली, वो कोठा, to give that kotha sound. So Sanjay said, but can we put some Marathi thumri over there? I said, wait, a brothel is a place where everybody goes. It is not just the Marathis. It is the influences from all the cultures, they go and from all the classes. Whether he's a trader, whether he's a sweeper, whether he's a king who's gone there in disguise, a brothel was frequented by people from all walks of society. वहाँ जाके वो mix हो जाता था crowd. So I just thought this would give that thing, where she then later goes into that sword nritya of sorts. So I wanted to give that feeling, just to enhance the mood that she is in a brothel, that she is in a kotha. So these are some of the things that we have done. One of those scenes was that particular range. So there were a lot of these small scenes that we realized that, either you bring in the music a little later or you take it out completely, it is sounding better without it. Even in, when there's before the Pinga song, when there's an interaction between Kashi and Mastani in her room. So a lot of places the music completely was out. Because it was disturbing the concentration, it was disturbing the intensity. Sometimes that particular silence works better. Perceived silence, you don't switch off your soundtrack over there. You just don't have elements which will distract you. And definitely you don't have music over there. The moment you have music, a scene particularly changes. When you guys are making a film, try this experiment where one particular scene you have treated entirely with music or you treat it entirely with effects. And you will see the difference. And you have a bit of both. So this is an exercise.
Also, in context with this particular film, there is a location sound and later on you process the sound and all that. How much in this particular film the dubbing was required?
Fortunately, because of Nihar Samal, who is a location sound recordist, he is very good at his work. Very little is dubbed. Only in the war sequences, because वहाँ पे जैसे fan चल रहा है, wind आ रहा है, there's artificial rain happening, so और हर हर महादेव करके चिल्ला रहा है, पीछे there was nothing. There was a green screen against which they did that, and then they shot that other thing and separately added it over there. So वहाँ पे you could not have, though we had recorded it, there was a lot of disturbance because of all the fans and all the other generators and things happening. So those particular scenes were dubbed. Then there were certain dialogues that Sanjay wanted them to change. So you have to dub those particular scenes. Like this is not, I don't like this way the word is. said. Or he did not like Mastani's mother's voice, so he replaced it with somebody else's voice altogether. So those are the times when you replace your sync sound voices. Or there's a slight change in the script when you're referring to this thing. Is it going to be he, or is it going to be she, or is it going to be it? So ये सब edit होने के बाद when it comes, then you realize that you need to do these small changes. So you do need to dub those particular scenes. So there were, apart from technical disturbances, there are directorial instructions why you will need to do the dub. So you tend to this. Then the challenge is to balance the dub track with the live soundtrack. So pilot track or the sync soundtrack. So then you're processing that particular dub sound in such a way and giving that particular artificial reverb, because originally मैंने ये Palace में किया है, and you have there is a natural reverb in that, so you have to know the parameters. So as a practicing sound engineer, you have to understand how many milliseconds, how many seconds should your delay time be. What will be the response of this particular room? Unless you hear, you will not be able to recreate. Like you set your exposure. You know, by now as an experienced cinematographer, you will not need your meter. You will know immediately, अच्छा इसमें कितना exposure होना चाहिए. And then you cross check with your meter, 99% you will be right. So this is also what happens when you are creating a particular environment. You are creating a particular tone. How much reverb time this particular room is supposed to have is something that you are calculating and you're putting inside there to make it sound like your desired effect. So you have to simulate this particular location पे जैसे sound हुआ है, you have to simulate the dub and make sure that these two match. Otherwise it will sound like two different sounds. So if there is a dirt in your face, you cannot have one guy, clean guy standing next to you. You might have to make him also dirty to show that they are coming from the same dirty environment. Like they're, miners अगर आए, so they have coal all over their faces. You cannot have somebody clean standing there. You have to mess him up so that they look like they are all miners and they are all coming up. So similarly, we have to slightly spoil the polished studio sound and make it sound more like a location sound.
Also, very often people talk about the room tone sound of various kind of locations, and particularly of the location sound, they record a room tone or something like that. How much or how many times do you really need that room tone sound for your post to have that effect?
Always. Now, just for 2 minutes, just for 2 minutes. 2 minutes is too long. For say 30 seconds, just be quiet. Okay? Just close your eyes and listen to what you're listening to. Have you heard? Were you surprised by the amount of sounds that you are hearing? There is some construction going on there, there is some thing going on here. Now if you shut your ears, shut your ears for about 5 seconds. Open it suddenly. There's a difference?
Yes.
There was sudden silence and there's this thing. So when you're closing, when you're all keeping quiet, this particular room has sound. So when I'm shooting a particular sequence in this, so you're changing your camera angles and you're shooting and all that. So the moment, you cannot take one shot continuously, which is why you have editing. So you're taking a close-up of this particular person, again you're taking a long shot of this particular person. So what happens is, when you're taking these close-ups and you're editing it, when you're cutting your scene, you're also cutting your soundtrack along with it. So when you're cutting your soundtrack, obviously there is going to be a jerk. If your soundtrack does not match, like I'm using his dialogue, but my dialogue there's a disturbance. So I have dubbed it over there. Now when I have dubbed it in a studio में तो ये sounds नहीं है. It's completely quiet in a studio. It's supposed to be soundproof. So when I work on his dialogue is mixed with what you just heard in the silence. Is there in his track, but it is not there in my track. So when my track comes, when you shut your ears, it's clean. The sound is, there is no sound when I am talking. Again, the sound comes back when he's talking. So in my patch, when I am talking, this length, I have to make it as dirty as what his sound, how his sound was. Dirty with the ambient sound. So I have to record, say, after my shooting in this area is done, the sound recorder stands and records 1 or 2 minutes of this room tone that you just heard. And out of this room tone that he has recorded, he has layered my dialogue track ke niche, the sound that is coming in this room, so that there is a uniformity between our dialogue. So this is the importance of the room tone. Now we call it room tone. It could be even outside. It could be even outside, we are standing over there, but we refer to it as room tone, even if we are not standing in a room when we are standing outside. We are saying room tone because everybody knows in this industry room tone का मतलब क्या है. It means that वो particular location में you are recording that particular sound, which you are going to be using later in case there is a dubbing or in case there is a separate dialogue that you want to add. So this room tone will be the continuation, the sonic continuation of that particular location.
So anything specific or anything else related to Bajirao if you wanted to mention in terms of track, which Foley or anything connected with that?
Foley is again something which is very important to me. You all know what Foley is? How many sounds have you heard? You heard my clothes, you heard the chair shifting, you heard my foot stamping. Earlier you heard him walk out of the door. So these are sounds that are artificially created in the studio. Why do we need to do that? Those sounds don't just happen. We have to put it on the film. When somebody's walked out of the door, you have to have, it'll sound strange when he's walking in the middle of the frame and you're not hearing his footsteps. It'll sound strange when he's having chai and he's keeping his thing, or he's pouring chai in his cup and keeping the kettle down and having a sip and putting his saucer down and placing the saucer on the table. All this is happening, and all these little things have little sounds that are happening which we hear but we don't notice. So if it is not there on the screen, it will look very odd. कि ये ऐसे चला गया है लेकिन कुछ सुनाई नहीं दिया. So you need to have, this is called Foley. So this is very important. So when I'm talking about his boots, his leather boots, his squeaking, all that is created in Foley. That is created so that there are specialized teams that do that. And there are specialized studios where it is done. So किस type के latches use हुए हैं, किस type के properties use हुए हैं, what kind of helmets have used, what kind of swords we have used. So we need to recreate that sword fight. So when you are recording sync sound, these things come, these things are, you hear their sounds, but they are not heard in the desired level. Shayad when you are adding music and everything, those sounds become soft. So you need to enhance them. Also there is an important thing. It is called the M&E tracks or the international track. M&E का मतलब होता है music and effects. Now suppose you have sold Bajirao to German television. Now all the dialogues Hindi dialogues have to be replaced in German. So dialogues तो आपने replace कर दिया. What happens to the music and the effects? So we have created a music and effects track. We do that when we are recording, when we are mixing, we are switching off the dialogue tracks and we are having only the music and effects. So when somebody in Germany buys it and decides to dub it in German, so he can add the music and the effects tracks and replace those dialogues and put it in German and broadcast it for German television. Or in any other, like right now it is going to China. Bajirao is going to China. So
it will appeal to their sensibility because of martial art and a couple of things.
Perhaps, hopefully.
Yeah.
So Sanjay didn't want to cut the songs, yet itna lamba film, he had to cut it to 2 hours. So yesterday, the whole day we were sitting and I was checking the edits, kahan pe smooth, kahan pe ho raha hai, kahan nahi ho raha hai. So there are certain scenes that have been knocked off. So you're working on that particular, so you've finished doing the M&E tracks, so now you're sending it to them in China, who bought the rights for China. So they will be dubbing it in Chinese, where all the other FX tracks will be as they were. Only the dialogues will change. He had to practice the Marathi accent also. He tried to वो Marathi accent निकालने के लिए. They worked. There was a person on location also to monitor their accent. कि अगर ये line एक Maharashtrian बोलता है तो उसका कैसा होगा accent. So if I'm trying to create that Marathi accent. So there were people to monitor their accents, like if you're having a film set in the south or in Bengal or in this thing. So वो region का एक particular accent होता है. But you have to keep the language universal, so that everybody in India understands Hindi. Even if he's from the south, he understands Hindi today. So, but that accent is giving you the flavor कि ये महाराष्ट्र में हुआ है. The way they nod their heads, the way they talk, the way the South Indian nods his head, is all different. It's all this cultural study of all these people, their costumes, what kind of costumes they're wearing. It's a nightmare. Costume dramas are a nightmare for sound recorders because of all those elaborate costumes. A lot of static noise is created on the mics, so they have to be stuck in a particular manner.
We do that panning in stereo format. We are just having left to right panning sequence. So when we do it in atmospheric Dolby Atmos format, does it have a different criteria for panning, or is it as same as in?
See, concept is the same, and it has a particular software. The Pro Tools has a particular software, and it is associated with a particular. It is connected to a particular hardware called the RMU. And जैसे you have the Pro Tools here, so you have seen what your pan looks like. Have you opened a 5.1 session?
No, I don't have 5.1 here.
Huh?
Can't open in native.
This is an LE?
Yeah, this is a native
Oh,
version, not HD.
Huh?
This is a native version, not HD. So this
So native में होना चाहिए.
native में नहीं है sir. Pro Tools
You'll have a 5.1 तो खोल ही सकते हो ना उसमें.
नहीं हो सकता sir.
So the software will. You will not be able to get 5.1
Yeah,
out.
software even doesn't open unless it is HD.
Oh, okay. Anyway, so what happens is you have a graph that shows you the pan in your normal 5.1 environment. You can see speakers, left, center, right, left surround, right surround. You can see the speakers, and you have a separate feed to the LFE. So आप जहाँ left to right घुमा रहे हो तो you can almost draw that graph. Nowadays with the computer you can be very accurate. So on an Atmos thing, what happens is you see a three-dimensional room. So in your you can run the things in slow motion and trace your graph in such a way that that bird has come from there, it has flown from there, come all the way here and sat down over here. So this entire movement you can trace over there. So at which height and which this thing, so it becomes easier for you. So you can almost see like an XYZ axis, three-dimensionally you can see the figure over there where you can rotate that yellow ball and make it and follow and trace that particular sound to there. So that's how you are panning it.
So you do have a studio for atmospheric effect, or you do?
Yes, and also your public theatre should also have Atmos. If it does not have Atmos, it will play in the regular 7.1 or 5.1 जो आपके पास है. But you need to go and mix it in a studio which has Atmos. What I had done, I have a very small room where I do my work. तो उसमें मैंने ऐसी 2 speakers ऊपर लगा के रखे थे for a reference. It was not Atmos or anything, but just to hear what it would sound like if I have any source of sound coming from on top of my head, how will it sound? Just for that. But you need to take it to a theatre which will have this hardware and the software to do an Atmos mix. What you can also do is you can do the rest of the mix and you can assign कि अच्छा ये चीज़ तो definitely I wanted to put into the Atmos. So you can separately keep those aside and say that okay, this is what I will do, this is what I will pan about. They call it objects. So these objects that I need to pan, I put them on a separate track and over there visual के हिसाब से मैं घुमाता हूँ. So you have these bullets whizzing past, you have swords running, flying over your head, you have spears coming over here, you have choppers going over your head. So you can do a lot of many things. But be very careful when you are making a sound. Don't try and distract the audience. So unnecessarily don't have things like dialogue coming from behind you. Because dialogue is a very powerful thing. If somebody calls out to you, hey, you'll turn around and look at him because you felt that somebody has called you. You're reacting to somebody's voice. You're reacting to a human voice. The same applies when you're watching in a film in the theatre. You have somebody shouting over here, they'll turn around to see that. Then as a director, you have lost him as an audience. So there are certain sensibilities which a film school can teach you. That these are things that you must do or these are things that you must not do. Then they will understand that okay, this is a professional work or you have had professional training.
Like as we are directors here, so actually we are about to start our projects also. So what kind of basic, because we are about to start our documentary like 10 minutes and a short movie also, like 10 minutes movie. So what kind of thing we should like care about like for recording and all that things. So we have done our practical classes for sound recording, being out there in the park and sometimes like in outside area also, like we have done few classes. Like for projects, like, what should we take care about?
I have seen, I don't know whether it was your batch or the batch after that, FTIMA, when they were doing this projects, everybody knew what they wanted to shoot and everybody understood, okay, this is how we will take the shot, this is how we will take the shot and this is how we are going to do the thing. But nobody realized that there was something called sound. So जब आप close-up जा रहे हो उसका, you're wondering why is this sound, you have taken a long shot. आपने लॉन्ग शॉट यहाँ कैमरा लगा के पूरा लॉन्ग शॉट उस आदमी का कॉर्नर में आपने लिया है. Now what you've done is you have zoomed into him, his close-up, and he's saying something, but your camera is over here. You have zoomed into him, but you have not bothered to mic him closely. So when he's talking, he seems like he's that far away when he's talking, and I can't hear what he's saying. So when you're on the editing table, since you don't have the option of dubbing, they didn't have the option of dubbing. So since there was no option of dubbing, there was no way that this guy's sound could be brought to the foreground. So his sound is over here along with the camera mic. So everything around is also being recorded and his voice is sounding small compared to the noisy environment. But suppose you had a separate mic also on him, then what would happen is you could play with perspective when you're on your editing table, when you're putting all your film together. Then you realize that there are certain things that if his sound is sounding less, you can switch over to his mic and reduce the other microphone sounds to bring out the perspective in here. So when you are recording, make sure that your sound is also there because on the table it always gets jacked. Your sound should be clean. There are times when you're probably catching somebody's interview but the location is so noisy. Suppose there's a minister over here. आपने उनका interview लिया, but there's a lot of noise happening and you can't ask him to come back and dub. So you have to be very careful when you're recording him that that your soundtrack is clean or whoever sound recordist understands that this is an important dialogue and it cannot be replaced. But in a documentary, what happens is if you're shooting me over there on the street and these mechanics are making all those noises, they are bound to be there. You cannot ask them to stop because आप उनके environment में गए हो. They are doing the work. But you might at the most take me to a silent corner and take an interview because जहाँ पे आपका sound शायद disturb नहीं करे. But that is the precaution that you might want to take. But then that will depend on how your frame is. आपको frame यहाँ अच्छा लग रहा है. Your building, your composition of the frame is looking nice. It's a little noisy over here, but then that's a directorial or a technical call that you have to take on the spot. Or you have to close mic him in such a way that his sound is clearer. Or the sound recordist will have to make sure that he puts up some barrier or something over there, a mattress वगैरह कुछ उसने डाल दिया to absorb the sound which is not into the screen. At the same time, it is Now, there are so many things you can do, but you will have to, for you, the focus के हिसाब से, like you are concentrating on the focus, you should also be concentrating on your sound. Because that is a one-time thing that you are grabbing from location, especially in a documentary. So you cannot go wrong there. Accidents do happen, but you have to be, once you know the lookout, once you understand, and you understand what your sound recordist is doing, you will also work in sync with that person. Yes?
What about, we have a limited budget for like music and everything, how should we do for that?
See, there is a, you have to depend on your friendship with your musical friends. But when you are using external stock music that you say, if you are using, you have to be very careful. Because if you are using a film for telecast, or your film is going to go somewhere, and you have taken his music without his permission, he can sue you. And they are very strict, getting very strict with copyright laws. So don't arbitrarily just take any random music and put it there because it's sounding nice. Make sure that you understand there is a huge legal implication for that also. So sometimes your film may get rejected on these grounds. If somebody files a case on you, फिर तो गया काम, आपने जितना hard work किया just for one oversight, you have lost that project because you have taken somebody's music where you don't have the rights. So you will have to, that is your skill. As a director, you are also a PR person. As a director, you are a doctor. As a director, you are a technician. So there are many roles a director plays. So this is one of those roles where you have to tell your, bank on your personal relation with your friends or your musician friends that if I need to do this, will you please help me out?
सर जैसे ये तमिल की मूवी हैं, वो हिंदी में डब होती हैं, हिंदी की तमिल में होती है, तो हमने मूवी देखी है, उनमें परफेक्टली सिंक होता है साउंड. कोई वीडियो में भी एडिटिंग होती है या फिर साउंड की परफेक्टनेस होती है?
पिक्चर में नहीं जाते लोग फिर. When it is just a straight dubbing, they don't go and usually don't go and mess with the picture anymore. वो कहानी खत्म. Now it is just the person, but it is वो जो तमिल में डब कर रहा है या तेलुगु में डब कर रहा है, कोई भी लैंग्वेज में डब कर रहा है, they try and match it in such a way कि ये डायलॉग के साथ ऐसे वर्ड्स वो यूज करते हैं ताकि सिनेमैटिकली ऑल्सो दे सिंक वाइज वो बैठ जाता है.
हाँ, कई बार देखते हैं परफेक्ट होता है.
हाँ, तो that is the beauty of the guy who is doing the translation. There are agencies which take up this contract. जैसे बाजीराव को हुआ है, बाजीराव के तमिल और तेलुगु में भी हुआ है. क्योंकि साउथ में it gives them a larger coverage. क्योंकि वो हिंदी समझ में नहीं आता, उसको इंटीरियर में अगर पिक्चर देखना हो तो he cannot read and write also. तो dub is the best way of reaching out to the larger masses. तो जो dub करता है यहाँ पे बॉम्बे में they have years of experience doing this. So phonetically how to word को कैसे match करके बैठाना, that is also a work of art. So ये लोग करते हैं, they do it with a lot of time constraints because we had to simultaneously release the Tamil and the Telugu with the Hindi. तो simultaneously इन लोगों का वो भी चल रहा था. तो हम लोग हिंदी mix करके immediately we were sending them the tracks and they were pre-mixing that. एक pilot track जैसे भी था वैसे करके दे दिया. तो वो बैठा के there are people who, specialized people who sit and write dialogues. वो particular songs. It is more difficult than songs. कि मीटर में कैसे बैठाना है वो भी तो बहुत difficult है. तो उसको intelligently translate करके फिर उसको बैठाना वो भी बहुत difficult है. So, but there are people who are constantly working. All said and done, I mean, there are certain words, there are certain things, and also what happens is situation ऐसे है जिस तरह से आपने dub किया है, तो you don't feel the sync का issue. Also, this also happens. It's also a state of mind.
सर डायलॉग भी चेंज हो जाते होंगे, वर्ड चेंज करते हैं तो डायलॉग चेंज होते होंगे.
Dialogue change होता है.
तो डायलॉग पे पूरी मूवी की स्टोरी डिपेंड होती है सर.
वो एक चीज है. One thing is translation and one thing is transcription. So English में बोलते हैं bad workman quarrels with his tools. आप हिंदी में क्या बोलोगे इसको?
सॉरी सर मेरी इतनी परफेक्ट नहीं है
A bad workman quarrels with his tools. मतलब जिसको that person who cannot do his work properly, he will blame. Suppose he's hammering something and he's not able to hammer that nails and he starts blaming that hammer. That is what is the meaning of a bad workman quarrels with his tools. तो हिंदी में क्या बोलोगे आप? हिंदी में बोलोगे you can't translate this in Hindi. हिंदी में आप वो डालोगे that phrase की नाचना जाने आमन टेढ़ा.
नाचना जाने वाले.
That is what you will say.
ओके
So if you try and translate this in Hindi, it will not make any sense. Like it did not make any sense when I was telling you. नाचने जाने आमन टेढ़ा आपको immediately समझ में आया क्या बोल रहा हूँ मैं. So these are transcriptions. So you have to be intelligently transcribing these things instead of doing a literal जो subtitles में भी होता है by the way. Subtitles में भी अगर होता है तो it should give the meaning. It should not exactly translate what the actor is saying. That is the beauty. That is the art also. And that is your command over your language also. So these are things that you have to concentrate on.
Not really a technical question, but in the last movie we worked with Papon in Madras
Yeah.
Cafe.
Yeah.
So I'm a big fan of Papon, sir. So how was it like working with
Papon?
him? Yeah.
Brilliant. Brilliant guy. Not only that, I've worked in many other projects with him. I've mixed the songs of Burfi also for the screen. He's a brilliant singer and a very nice person. And yeah, you have a very good relation with all your co-singers and co-workers in the industry. So Papon is one of those guys who are really very nice guy. And very good singer. Technically also he's very good.
So his voice texture.
His voice texture is unique. Everybody has a different voice texture. I think he has a very good voice texture. A lot of people have not heard him, but he has his own band also. He has a good rock kind of a thing. I have not heard too much of that. But he sings good ghazals also. So he is, वो है उसमें एक flexibility, एक वो है. He has that versatility. जो he can slip into anything quite comfortably. That is it.
So
Yes.
when you stepped into this commercial market, working in the music industry, you did your first work like it was a documentary Bandhini.
Yeah.
You mixed it on analog, right?
Yes, everything was analog in those
Then
days.
in Devdas 2001, you shifted totally to digital.
That is when the shift started happening.
Is there any difficulty you faced?
No, it was
What is
Much
more
easier.
convenient according to you?
digital, definitely. Yes. 100%. See, what happens in the digital, analog had its own beauty. See, we have not completely given up on analog. My recording a voice on the microphone and taking it to this chain is always going to be analog. So we have not moved away from analog. The only thing that has changed is the medium of storage. That we are recording it on digital platforms now. Earlier what used to happen was, we used to mix almost like sitting on the board and ye itna hona chahiye, wo itna hona chahiye. It had its own beauty, it had its own sounds. But we were working hard, a lot harder on the mechanics of the mix rather than the program itself is something that I saw. Thanks to digital, I can concentrate 100% on the program and मेरा mechanics sort out हो गया है. So I am very happy with it. In my generation is a very lucky generation because we have worked largely on analog. We have seen the digital coming in, and we have seen vacuum tubes going out. So I have heard first-hand vacuum tubes. I have heard first-hand analog, and I have heard, and I'm still hearing first-hand digital. So there are simulations of analog sound in softwares, in plugins. So when they are saying that, this is a simulation of this particular microphone, I'm quietly laughing. Kisko ullu bana rahe? I've been there, done that. So I can proudly say that. There was a time when we could not see waveforms, but we had to hear and cut tape. That thing had its own beauty. But if you ask me to do that again, I will say, of course, The computer god has blessed me with a button called undo. Which was not there. नहीं आपका edit गलत हो गया और वो चला गया तो God help you. There is no undo over there. So that was the thing. So in that sense, so if there is a situation, like I was sitting and yesterday itself I was editing it. So we were cutting the mix track. Now on the mix track it is not easy to see the waveform. So there are a lot of other things. So there is a background का छोटा एक beat के हिसाब से I am asking the assistant who was working in the studio, मैं उसको बोला इसको cut. He is looking at the waveform and is cutting it. तो वो beat आई नहीं. मैंने कहा बात सुन. Now you don't look at the monitor, you just scrub and hear where the beat comes. So he scrubbed it and he heard where the beat came. The waveform is not very clear because it's mixed, but he could hear the beat and he locked it over there, he cut it over there. And then we cut the next sequence, the next music का next piece जहाँ से edit करना था to bring it back. Again same way we locked that. Cut the center out, matched it, it was perfect. I keep telling today's generation also, I keep telling that, of course, for this you will have to be a little more experienced in what you're doing. But I keep telling them that trust your ears more than what the meter is saying. Everything is not visual. If it's not sounding right, it's not right. So something is kuch gadbad hai. Because this is the best microphone and here is the best processor and this is the best camera till date. ऐसा resolution किसी में नहीं है. So don't underestimate your senses.
So did you have any previous experience before Madras Cafe in Dolby Atmos, or you just?
Dolby Atmos was the first film. उससे पहले आया नहीं था.
So आपने उससे पहले भी कुछ इस concept पे काम किया?
नहीं.
कभी?
It was not. I mean, there were no studios in this thing. Only some films like Life of Pi and all had come. They had started doing Dolby Atmos over there. But when Dolby Atmos started in Bombay, public theatres में there were 2 theatres in Bombay. There was still only 1 theatre in London. It was that new. London में एक ही theatre था. But we were a step ahead because we have the maximum number of films produced in the world. So we could afford to do that. For them, it is not an easy task to upgrade their cinema. It's expensive over there and it's less. यूरोप में भी जो फिल्म चलता है तो हॉलीवुड का ही चलता है. यूरोपियन सिनेमा कहाँ है? Except for small few European films, there are no blockbuster मसाला फिल्म्स नहीं है. वो हॉलीवुड से ही आता है. So we are at an advantage, right? And we have also evolved. We have also become matured in our technology, especially over the last 20 years. The way we do our graphics, the way we do our this thing is competent and much better than a lot of other people who don't work. मेरे को I get 1 month maximum. Usually it is 20 days, 1 month. इसमें तो और भी कुछ भी time नहीं मिला to do the entire post production. Whereas to do the entire sound post production, they get 6 to 9 months in Hollywood. तो वैसे अगर मुझे time मिला तो मैं सो के काम करूँगा यार. So we are working under severe stress, severe limitation. He will be working on limitation. भैया I need the background by so and so. Within a month you have to do the background. अब ये सोचे कहाँ, compose कहाँ करे और वापस. But he has to come out with it. I cannot tell my director that no, it's not possible. I can't. तो मैं सबको no ही बोलता रहूँगा because that is the system. And I'll starve to death.
सर आपने अपना फर्स्ट डॉक्यूमेंट्री जब किए थे तो कोई फॉरेन के साउंड इंजीनियर थे उनके साथ उनको आप असिस्ट कर रहे थे?
Not my documentary. The documentary was the first work that I did. Whom I assisted, there was a film that was called Salam Bombay. In that I had assisted a sound recordist called Juan Rodriguez who had come down from the US.
Okay, तो difference between Indian engineer, sound engineer and foreign sound engineer क्या है basic difference?
See, that time when the gentleman had come, I was a very young guy like you guys. So, and this gentleman was old. Then he was in his mid-40s. And we were doing Sync Sound then. लोग लगान के बाद Sync Sound करके उछल रहे हैं. But we were doing Sync Sound then. It was analog. We were recording on Nagra. And this guy was sitting because we did not have multi-tracks in those days. आजकल क्या है? अलग-अलग artists के अलग-अलग tracks आप digitally multi-track recorder में कर सकते हो. But then we had only one recorder called the Nagra and which had a single track. So I could record 4 or 5 characters, but I had to sit on the location and do the mix. कि आपकी dialogue delivery, फिर उसकी dialogue delivery, फिर इसकी dialogue delivery. So I had to match the levels of those particular dialogues on location, which this gentleman was doing. My job at the end of the day was, after finishing my boom work and wiring people, I used to take this and transfer it onto 35mm magnetic stripe. And when I did the transfer, I used to hear what he has done. His tracks were so consistent. वो that day 1 हो या day 20 हो या day 40 हो, his ambience track was, the meter was just like that. It seemed like he was just, so that was his beauty, that was his specialty. I was amazed by how consistent he was in his work. So just imagine, the editor's work has become like makhan over there, because he has already done such a beautiful work. And in those days, the editor's job, it was the editor's job to lay the tracks. Because they used to sit on the Steenbeck, or they used to sit on those analog editing machines, and they used to lay the tracks. कि यहाँ पे birds के track आएंगे, यहाँ पे traffic आएगा, यहाँ पे ये आएगा, वहाँ पे ये आएगा. So, because the layout was like that, the machines were like that, and then they were sent to the, so there were no sound designers as such. It was only the editing department which did that. There were specialized sound editors who did this work. वो रात को he would बैठ के वो कर देता था, but most of the time it was done without any aesthetics involved. Very few people did that. But mostly it was like कोई किसी ने उल्टा लगा दिया, किसी ने ऐसी traffic लगा दिया. There was no imagination. They just put it over there. There was no thinking behind कि भैया ये माहौल होगा तो क्या होगा. That the director and editor would sit and say कि भैया यहाँ पे ये डालते हैं, वो डालते हैं. From the sound department there was no thought given to it, because it didn't come to me. I am only getting what the editor sent. So with the shift in technology, what has happened is, this entire onus of trackling has shifted from the editor's table onto my table. Thankfully so. Kyunki I can sit, I can process, I can treat the sounds the way I want it to. Even the way I am treating my EQ and processing my EQ is related to how my dialogue is going to sound, is related to how my background is going to sound, is related to how the songs are going to sound. So, जाके एक consistency आए. So right from your first reel till the end of your film, it should sound like it has come from the same source. It has come from one person. That there is no jerk. If Sudeep is doing the camera for the whole thing, then Sudeep is doing the camera. He's done his bit of lighting, he's used his sensibility. Of course, all this is because you're the director, I have to do it with your perspective in mind. I cannot independently do something and expect you to not react to it. But that is why it is important when you're in your school like this. आपस में आप अपने आप को, you'll be working with yourselves. So it is important to understand each other, to create that particular environment, to work together in that environment. कि कल आप documentary बनाओगे, ये sound करेगा, वो camera करेगा. So you should be on the same page, sensibility wise. So the idea is to show you the same set of films. The idea is to show you the same set of, record the same set of, listen to same kind of music. So this brings you on a uniform platform. So you will see the difference once you come out of this school. It does not matter which school, it does not matter which institute, but एक आपका institution का एक influence और एक वो है that you can make out when you see a film. You will understand that this person has had a formal training. That is evident. Whether it is a film school in America, whether it is a film school in India, whether it is a film school in Russia, you can make out. क्योंकि वो by now he knows what composition is. He's shooting. तो आप कैसे compose करोगे उसको पता है कि negative space क्या होता है frame में, कि कौन सा proportionate है नहीं है. You will understand when you are composing that frame. As a sound recordist, my integrated course has taught me that this is how it is going to be. So I can fully understand when he is framing how I am going to work, or what the fallout of that is going to be. As an editor, आपका framing, how your cameraman does is important to you, and as an editor, as a sound recorder, it is important to me how my editor works. कि एडिटर के साथ मेरा डायलॉग ज़्यादा रहता है. So it's a constant relation that you are always maintaining. There are also those people who have gone to schools and have not learnt anything. उसकी बात उनकी बात अलग है. That you wonder why is he doing that? He's gone to FTI है लेकिन ऐसा क्यों कर रहा है?
Sir, I've seen one of your interview in which you stated that you don't like to work for dubbing and all.
Sorry?
I've seen your interview in which you stated that you don't want to work for dubbing and all. You don't like working. You don't like dubbing for films and all.
Dubbing for this is just a boring job for me.
Exactly.
वो आके dialogue बोल रहा है and I'm just sitting there and recording, sitting there and recording. So it's a very personal this thing, but I make sure I'm there at certain dubs. Like I was there for the dubs of the crowd. That is very important to me. It is not important to me because I know how Ranveer is going to do that work. I know how Deepika is going to dub. So if he's an assistant director or part of the direction team and you're doing the sound, between the two of you, you know what she's going to do. My going to the dubbing is not going to improve anything because she knows her job, he knows his job, you know her job. So I sitting over there, for me it is just pushing the red button in and pulling it out. So for me that's, as a process, it's a very boring thing for me. Unlike in singing. Singing, at least there is a certain involvement that you are, because the singer is constantly looking at you for assurance. Ki, is the sur right? Have I sung it right? Am I right? So you're just taking, and you're with your, even if the music director or the client or whoever is sitting there, एक हम लोगों का communication चलता रहता है कि is this right or is this not right? Or is this, can we improve this or not? So, you know, lot many words, एक understanding develop हो जाता है, so you know that this is the thing. और सबको ठीक लगा, then the singer turns around and says, is it okay or do you think? And then you say that, yeah, you can improve on this one last line, because it's like that. So it's okay, let's take that particular line. So, ऐसे होता रहता है. So, there is an interaction with the singer because if you're called for a dub, then you know that you're sitting there with the singer and doing the thing. So, dubbing में, that is my main thing. So as a technician, if I'm just sitting there to operate the machine, then it's different. It's different again when I'm told by the director, ki, boss, you have to be there in the dub because none of us are there, and you have to. So I am there. So then you are pretty much making sure that it is not just a button pressing job. Then you are concentrating on his expression, how he has to match. जैसे location पे जैसे किया था वैसे उसका आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है. You have to tell him. He's turning around to somebody for assurance, and you being there, he's turning around to you and saying that ये ठीक था, या इसको एक और try करें, या इसका variation एक और दूँ. So you have to be there. I was just saying it in a casual way that you just go into the thing. I don't want to make dubbing my career basically.
Other than Bollywood, what type of music do you listen to? Like, what do you like listening to?
I like listening to a lot of different types of music actually. I like listening to Western music. I like listening to folk music. If I want to be a little more specific, I like listening to Floyd. I think Floyd. I like listening to.
Even me, I'm a big Floyd fan.
I like listening to Sting. I like listening to Seal. I like listening to.
Dream Theater.
Huh?
Dream Theater.
No, I'm not. So these are some of the things that I really. I'm probably stuck in that zone. I like listening to folk, various I like Bengali folk. I like our Indian bands. I recorded Silk Route, Duba Duba. Yeah. I recorded Apke Sawan. Euphoria was done in our studio. It was mixed by Eric. That time he was assisting me. Spectral album. So we did a lot of album work. I really enjoyed. I like Indian Ocean. I like, I have a big this thing of but I don't have the time to listen to it. And what happens is I don't feel like listening to anything at the end of the day. I want silence. I've just mixed one album for Gulzar Saab, which Shantanu is doing. Gulzar Saab's on Tagore. It's Tagore inspired lyrics by Gulzar, composition by Shantanu, sung by Shreya and Shan. So we just finished that album.
So it's Rabindranath.
Essentially from there. So the compositions were, they're taken from there, but they were composed by Shantanu. But on those lines.
So if you don't mind, can you, which song is it?
It's a collection of songs. It's a collection of the thought actually, more than the songs in particular. So like Gulzar says a few words, saying that this is what Tagore was probably trying to say, and this is my interpretation. And then the song starts, and then there's another thing. It's an interesting album. You can listen to it when it comes out. So I like working on these. Bollywood has its own masti, has its own charm. But these are some of the things which I also work on, which I also enjoy working on. I work in a lot of advertising films, ad films that you see on this thing. So that is another very interesting avenue. So even for people like you, advertising is something which you can explore. It's a different world altogether, but it's a very nice, it's a different world. How to make ads, how to deal with clients. The technique is the same everywhere because the technology is, it's the same camera, it's the same recorder, it's the same this thing, but your approach is different. The person who's making ads, his approach is different. People who come from advertising, they also have a certain finesse. Like Rakesh Om Prakash Mehra, like Pradeep Sarkar. They have spent most of their lives doing advertising. And from there they have shifted to making films. Shujit Sarkar. They are very big advertising. All this, have you seen this Gujarat being endorsed by Amitabh Bachchan? Those are done by Shujit Sarkar. So these are some of the, they are, that advertising jo karte hain ye log, that also has a certain discipline to it. And we also enjoy working on that. So as directors, don't rule out that option. You have documentaries, you have feature films, you also have advertising. So advertising या marketing में आपका एक background अगर है, तो try and learn and understand how the advertising industry works. Once you understand that, then you will know how you can fit yourself into that. It's very interesting.